Hey everybody, today I am bringing you a layout that's going to feature that Nantucket stack from Die Cuts with a View. I bought that at Tuesday morning last summer. So the reason I just pointed at that piece of paper was when I tore it out of the paper pad, I tore it unevenly across the top. So I needed to go grab the other piece of paper. Turns out in the end I wouldn't have needed to do that because one end of it gets covered anyway, but you know, that's what happens sometimes. Anyway, so I am going to take these two photos from 4th of July, one of my stepson and my two grandbabies, and then my other grandson, and then my grandson on a tire swing. And I've just mounted them on that red and white striped paper from the collection. And I actually, when I started this, had no idea what this layout was going to look like or what I was going to do. That card there, or the 3x4 journaling card there, is from a set of printables that Elle Studio put on their blog for free during the 4th of July last year. And the same thing is also true with that 3x4 card with the camera on it. Now I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, and then I decided I really wanted to feature a lot of that blue pattern. So what I do is I cut that down and I cut it to 8 inches. So you can use the rule of thirds. I talked about this in one of my other recent videos because I was using the rule of thirds vertically. This time it's horizontally. But you can use the rule of thirds not just with clusters and where you're positioning photos, but also with where you are, how are you cutting. And one of the things I wanted to do here is I want to get some kind of border between the two papers there. So I grabbed this navy paper and it has a sailing ship embossed on it, and I don't think I'm going to necessarily use that sailing ship for anything, so I decided I could use that to cut the border. And so I ran and got my border punch. That border punch is from EK Success, and it is a postage stamp edge, which is a nice edge. Now I'm not going to need to do all 12 inches of this because a great deal of this punched area is going to be covered by the photo. So I just need to get it coming out the sides. So what I did is I cut the strip, and then I'm going to cut those edges off there. And as I put it down, I realized I did a really bad job of punching the left side of that. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to put it back in the border punch again and repunch it. So I didn't have it lined up perfectly the first time. All right, so I did that, and then I just cut off some of the extras so that I can more easily tuck it in between the two pages there. Now you'll notice that you're watching this in the middle of winter. If I remember correctly about where I am with videos, it'll be sometime in February or maybe even March that you see this. And I'm scrapping July 4th photos, and this isn't an old page. It really is photos from July 4th that I'm actually scrapping in January. I'm just that far out ahead of my videos so that I can make sure I can keep bringing them to you. I don't scrap chronologically, but I do store them chronologically in my albums. I use D-ring albums, which makes it really easy for me to do that. So I'm grabbing some Elle Studio product here, and I have a sun there. I have a little wood veneer there that says "So Much Fun." And then I have a little star banner piece. Those wood veneers are from are from Elle Studio Sunny Days from the wood veneer. I also grabbed this little cut apart sheet, and I have that little square that says "Life is Amazing," the red square there, and that is from Elle Studio Little Snippets labels from the Sunny Days collection. And I've decided now to take that camera and I'm going to cut it apart. I wasn't quite sure if or how I was going to use that on this page, And I'm going to go to the trouble to do this, and then in the end I'm not going to use it anyway because it's a little bit too big. That was also one of those printables from July 4th as well. So I print them up at first on 3x4 cards when I first get them, and then I use them as need be, and then print them as I need to after that. So now I have all of these little labels and bits and pieces here, even some cut aparts or things that I printed incorrectly. Most of those are from a bits and pieces grab bag that I bought at Thanksgiving on Black Friday, and that is where that little tab comes from, as it was in my little bits and pieces grab bag there. I also have that little circle there that says so much love, and the little collecting moments piece. I did try that other sort of like a little arrow label piece, and it's not going to work. I'm going to leave it just as is. I just found a piece there that said weekend, which it's a good reminder for me that I need to, and there's another piece in there from somewhere that says Friday that I need to definitely pay attention to that, so that when I have weekend things I can do that. Now I've decided that I want to punch some stars out here, and so I grab my star punch from the Paper Studio, which is a Hobby Lobby brand, and I punch it from that blue paper that I cut the border from, but I actually use the embossed ship on there, so that when you look at these stars, I'm punching them all from that embossed area of the paper. When you look at these stars, there's an embossed detail on them, which I really like. They're not just plain cardstock. So how cool is that, that I was able to make use of something that I probably wouldn't use. And it's the first time I've ever done anything like that, so I thought it was really cool. I decided there that since the star was blue, that I didn't want to do the collecting moments, that I wanted to actually change it to the red so much love die cut circle there. And I'm still playing around with using that camera for at least a little bit yet. And I keep punching these, and then I don't pay enough attention, and I punch off one of the ends of the arms of the star, so I'm going to be trading these in and out depending on where they go, which is kind of silly, but that's what happens when you don't pay attention. And I punch it upside down so that I can actually see, but apparently that didn't work very well. All right, and I'm just playing with stars in that cluster and just not liking it. The camera is just too big considering the scale of the stars in the sun there. So once I do that, I really kind of get an arrangement for my clusters, or my cluster down there. And what I'm doing here is, again, I'm looking because I have arms that are not correct there on the stars. And I decide I want one more star there to put in that bottom cluster. I'm only going to have 2 at the top on the right, but everything else will have 3 because they are bigger clusters. And love the way that works out in the end, and how it just sort of highlights each of the clusters. And you know, it's the 4th of July here, so that totally makes sense that I'm using stars. I did buy this paper pad just because I didn't have very much red, white, and blue paper, and I do, you know, that's a color that if you live in the United States of America, that you use quite often for not just July 4th layouts, but for other things as well. So when I saw the paper pad at Tuesday morning, it was on a really, really good sale. I decided that I would get that. So I had some, and I kind of like how it's a little bit distressed and vintage looking, so that if I wanted to use some of the other patterns, I could very easily do that, and it's not going to look so much like I'm using a July 4th collection. Now, obviously, when I'm doing red, white, and blue like this, yes, it does look like that. But I think you could, like the blue paper that I have there, you could easily use on many layouts. And that blue paper is, it's blue, but in this tint, it's a little red, or in this, it's also a little, has a little bit of a reddish color to it. So it comes off almost a little bit purple, which is one of the reasons I also wasn't liking that camera so much, is because that camera was like a royal blue and they were just kind of fighting each other. So I have that star there to go up on top, and I decide to pop that star up on some foam circles, and I'm going to do the same thing with one of the stars in the other cluster in the bottom right side there. All right, so I have that down, and I'm just getting a couple of other things down here. And just kind of looking as to where I want to position things. And I could have used my foam tape for this, but I like being able to get, I don't know, more of it covered somehow. And I think because they're small little circles, you can kind of get them into the arms of the stars. Would be the best reason why I did this. And I'm really liking how this layout looks. And I'm thinking, you know, other than the title, I'm pretty much done. But you're going to see how I eventually change that. And I do cut off the little arms of the star there. And I discovered that I didn't have that all the way down, and it was coming up because of the heaviness and weight of the wood veneer there. And my ATG, I didn't get it down there. So this is when I had pulled these stars to begin with, and then I just decided, you know what, I think I'm going to take one red star and put it into each cluster, and I love how that adds another dimension and another texture into the layout. So I have wood, I have enamel, I have paper on here. And then I've punched things, and I'm going to, in just a minute, have some thicker letter stickers as well too. Those enamel stars came from the Bella Boulevard enamel doodads in Macintosh, by the way, so that you know where those came from. So I grabbed a little bit of wax paper so I can arrange my title, and it's going to be July 4th Fun. I'm going to use this American Crafts Thickers alphabet, and I believe this is Cherish, since I forgot to write that down. I wrote the color down, which is crimson, but I forgot to write that down. But I'm pretty sure this is Cherish. It's one of my favorite alphabets. I have it in red and blue both. So like I said, the title is going to be July 4th Fun. And right now I think I'm just going to put it right under the photographs there, starting at the cluster on the left. But I will change that as I go. Now, I didn't have another U, and this alphabet is not exactly all the same size, so I just cut a Q, the top off of a Q, to make a U. And I did actually like that the way I did it, but then I decided maybe I'm going to put it somewhere else, and I'm glad I didn't put it there, because looking at it now, I really don't like it there. I didn't like it there before either, but so I thought about putting the fun down there, and then I get the idea that, oh, you know what? I could put July 4th above here and then put the fun down below. And that's what I'm going to end up doing. And I really like the way that title is kind of separated. It sort of nestles around the photo, and then the fun just becomes part of the cluster. When it said July 4th, I just thought it went out so far. It just didn't look like it was part of anything anymore. It felt like it was floating a little bit. So that's why I changed my mind. All right. So I have just a little bit of journaling here, the date on the tab there, just so that we know what year it is, which is important. And then just a little bit of journaling about what was going on in those photos to preserve it. I love that picture on the right with my grandson, with his baby grandson with his sunglasses on. So cute. Anyway, so just about finished with the journaling. There's a still shot at the end and a couple of detail shots. Hope you're all well, and I'll be back with another layout soon. Bye!